We've done enough relaxing though, so today it's time to get back to Bengaluru. The way back, I want to do something a little more adventurous. I'm also told that the roads aren't great on this route, and that's precisely the reason why I want to take that route. Well, suddenly that road narrowed to what now looks like a trail. The map says we're approaching another set of ghats, and the road's gone bad again. In fact, there's no road at all here. It's mostly just mud and bumpy. That is the most stunning. It's about 11 in the morning now. I think by the time we get to Bengaluru, it should be around 4:30 perhaps. But what I'm looking forward to next is that drive through Bommidi Ghat, which is going to be a little rough, but then that's the sort of terrain that this Jimny has been designed for. So I'm really looking to put it through its paces there. Two ways in which we can get to Bengaluru. One is to go left via Salem, and the other is to take a right here, descend the Bommidi Ghat, and that's what we're going to do. I'm told the route is a lot more challenging than the 20 hairpin bends that we took to get to Yercaud from Salem. Breathe in some of the fresh Yercaud air as long as we can. One of the challenges that one faced where we were staying was that there was limited network connectivity. I think still no connectivity. I guess somewhere along the way we'll find network. Until then, just enjoy the drive. So I did this route via Bommidi about 4 years ago when I rode on the motorcycle, and I still remember it being a challenging route back in the day. And I rode my Himalayan then. Of course, then I did a day trip, so I came here, had breakfast, had biryani actually for lunch at Hotel Salem, and then drove back the same day. Of course, a lot has changed since then. There's so many places that have sprung up on this route. I don't remember seeing so many of these eateries and restaurants back then. King's Wood Plantation Cafe. How many kilometers? 30 kilometers. Thank you. Nandri. Well, that's the disadvantage of not having Google Maps on because there's no network. So we'll go back to the old-fashioned ways of trying to seek directions before Google. There was a world before Google. One doesn't realize it these days when we take everything for granted. There's plenty of pepper that they grow in the estates here. And the pepper that they grow is very different from the Karnataka pepper. It's a pepper that's more aromatic, but I think it's not as potent in its heat. At least that's the experience that we have from tasting a few dishes at the resort we were in at Four Seasons, La Four Seasons. Not to be confused with the Four Seasons chain. This is La Four Seasons, a kutti resort, a small resort, Chinna resort here in Tamil Nadu, but one that is quite adequate. Whenever I pass through areas like these, I always think that at some point one should try and acquire a place like this. But then when one thinks of the work that goes into this, it can be easy. It's okay to come and spend a couple of days, but all these farms that we see around, all these estates, they require a great deal of commitment. But it's nice to be able to escape city life every once in a while and find yourself in places like these. Well, suddenly that road narrowed to what now looks like a trail. I don't remember going through this though. I'm not sure if we are on the right road, but we wanted some adventure, and adventure we have certainly found in this narrow trail. I think it opens up ahead. I'm just wondering if we've driven into somebody's estate. The road looks very narrow for it to be the main road. I don't know. And there are no signboards at all. I think we're certainly lost. We take Google Maps for granted. Just double back, turn back. Bommidi evre. So straight Munadi poi?
Munadi poite Karadir viewpoint road pogo. Adu pona straight Bommidi.
Oh, viewpoint road. Adu Bommidi. Thank you. There was a viewpoint road. We thought it went to a viewpoint, but that's the road that we should have taken. There's a very narrow road that goes towards Bommidi, and we assume that it's always a broad roads that lead to where we want to go, but that's not the case always. Okay, I think this is the route that we should have taken to go to Bommidi. Hopefully we will get to where we have to go, and I hope our adventure doesn't turn into a bit of a misadventure. We're so lost without Google. Look. Bommidi-Bengaluru. Straight. Okay, thank you. I don't remember the last time I stopped and asked somebody for directions. I guess this area is also forcing us to go back, employ old school methods, and I can see many cars coming in, so we know we're on the right track now. Do a bit of get off the shoulder. That's the thing with this car, you can do all of that. If somebody is coming up ahead and the road is too narrow, you don't mind taking the shoulder, because you know this vehicle has been designed to do that. These are the roads that I remember from a long time ago. I don't know if you can get a sense of the thuds as we make our way over a section of roads that are not roads at all. So this is a route to take only if you're looking for a bit of adventure. Otherwise, the other route that we came in through, and I hope you saw that vlog, is the best option. I think the roads here have gotten much worse than what I remember it from being 4 years ago. This is now not a road but more like a track. I think this is a great stretch to actually test the vehicle and see how it performs in these sort of conditions. So we are bouncing around, there's no denying that on the road, but not so much. The vehicle feels very solid, it doesn't seem to be creaking and rattling. All the creaking and rattling that's happening is from the loose objects within the car, whether it's my coffee flask or something else. We are now descending, but when you climb up, I think that's when you will use the four-wheel drive in some stretches, I suppose. And I guess when you're driving up, you're not bouncing so much. Right now we are, at least on that stretch. Now things are getting smooth, and this is the point that is the most stunning. So when you take the Bommidi Ghat, there are not so many hairpin bends from what I remember, and they are not very long curves as well. The only thing is that the roads are narrow and the roads are not very good. So that's what you need to contend with. And I guess it also adds some drive time in terms of distance. But what a beautiful view. Amazing. These are what they call the Cheveroy Hills, and it gets its name from Lord Cheveroy, the Cheveroy Covil that we visited when we were in Yercaud. Mostly peaceful, barring that goods auto that trundled past us. So I think this is a route that, in addition to adventure seekers like us, it's used probably by the villagers, by people who want to probably get goods up there without attracting too much attention, I suppose. If it was not too sunny, come here, get one of those little chairs, put it out here, sip on your coffee, spend some time, in solitude. The vehicle handles beautifully. Although we got lost a bit earlier, I'm glad that we took this route. It's allowed us to have a bit of adventure, a bit of fun. So these are the hairpins here, which aren't as steep as the ones that you face when you come up from Salem. But the roads are very narrow and bumpy, that goes without saying. We also seem to have network and therefore our Google map back on, and we're currently on the Devatipatti Danishpet Bommidi road, which we will hit in about 13 kilometers. So it's about 4 hours and 7 minutes to Bengaluru, 187 kilometers to go. Unless you really have a reason to be on this side, be it for adventure or you just want to have some fun, there's no reason why you should be on this route. And I guess that's also the reason why this road isn't in such great condition, because I guess there's the main highway to go to Yercaud. Oh, this is certainly a bumpy stretch. I wouldn't advise it unless you have a four-wheel drive and you want to have some fun. Between the tarmac and the craters, there's a fair bit of drop. You can hear your vehicle thud quite a bit as you maneuver this route. I think that's the end of the ghats. It's a very short ghat too. And now we are back amongst villages and coffee estates. You can also notice the sudden increase in temperature. It was quite nippy whilst we were up there. You can now feel the Tamil Nadu heat. Even when the vehicle thuds into those craters, it does so with an air of confidence. You never felt that you were losing control or that the vehicle was coming apart. And I think the biggest take for me is that this car doesn't drive like a typical Maruti. It's very solid in its build and also in the manner that it tackles these undulations in the road. You come to a part now where the road, it's more of a trail actually, meanders through villages every now and then. But thankfully we have Google on, so we know that we are on the right track. It doesn't feel like a highway, no, or even a state highway for that matter. That wasn't Bommidi where we were. I think we're now approaching Bommidi. The map says we're approaching another set of ghats and the road's gone bad again. In fact, there's no road at all here. It's mostly just mud, as you will see in the GoPro view. The road's been eaten completely. There's only a little bit of a trickle of tar in the center. Whole set of twisties here that we will now go through as we approach the Danishpet Bommidi road. You've got to be very slow here. I don't know what you can hear, but even as we are trundling along on this rough path, there's no creaking or anything like that from the body or from the car, from the engine. The only sound that you hear is my GoPro arm. This is definitely only the sort of terrain that you should think of exploring if you have a four-wheel drive, especially on the way up. On the way down it's okay, you don't need four-wheel drive. I've not engaged my four-wheel drive at all, but some stretches perhaps may need that, or you at least need a vehicle that's built tough. These are hairpins, all right, but there are no bends in the road. It just the road's been eaten up by traffic over the years. There's a Swift. I pity the people in the back seat. Look at the way the hairpin comes up just like that. There's no embankment, nothing. The road's just flat. So we're at this point where we just come to the main road, and it just feels like it's a little village lane. And there we are. We've emerged onto the main road. I remember the first time around when Google Maps showed me this, I thought for a second we were probably being shown the wrong direction, but that's not the case. This is the grand entrance to the Yercaud back route, 27 kilometers. It's about 30 kilometers to the Dharmapuri main road. I think it'll be smooth sailing from that point on. The only time that this engine makes some noise is when you are going uphill and you've, let's say, put some pressure on the accelerator beyond a certain point. Otherwise, it's a very smooth engine. In fact, when it's idling, you can hardly make out that the engine is on. And I guess also I've not been used to a petrol for a long time now. The last few cars that I've had have all been diesel. The joy of driving a petrol vehicle is very different. I think this is a state highway going towards Dharmapuri. We made good progress from the time that we set out. We've got about 135 kilometers to go, which was about 2 hours 40 minutes, but we're not going to be stopping around much, so I think we'll probably make good progress. So basically Google Maps has brought us somewhere near Krishnagiri. So we've still not touched the NH75. And the last time around when I did this route, I went from Dharmapuri, just before Dharmapuri or somewhere there I took a left. But this time around it's brought us all the way through the inner highways or the state highways of Tamil Nadu. The route's quite scenic and the roads in Tamil Nadu are very good. Can you hear something? Could just hear something grazing along the car, some sound. I just want to check what it's all about. What is it? Oh. That's the culprit. So the villagers put these crops in the center of the road, and they want the cars to literally act as a threshing machine for them. So as you drive on them, I guess it separates the seeds or the grain or whatever else that might be. I don't know what this is. I typically try and go around the side, but this was all over the road, so there was no way to avoid it. And my biggest worry sometimes when you drive on these, I don't know if there's stones there. If somebody wants to play mischief, they can very well do that. I could hear some noise, I could hear some sound, and I was just wondering what happened to the Jimny. Well, we finally made it to the NH75, I think somewhere near Krishnagiri, because it says about 110 kilometers from here to home, and that can only mean that we are somewhere around Krishnagiri. So we've kind of bypassed the entire route, the highway completely, which wasn't so bad because we were of course on state highways, but there was hardly any traffic. So there you go, Bengaluru is on the right and Salem is on the left. So a very different route, a very different driving experience too. So on the way into Yercaud, it was like flat out for the most part. When I say flat out, you know, at the speed that I was doing, not much. So it was flat out highway till Salem and then the ghats going up towards Yercaud. Whereas here on the way back, I think we caught a bit of an adventurous route. Bad roads for the first 30 odd kilometers. But then we got to drive through the ghats, so it was fun. So I think it's also probably time to close this vlog. I hope you enjoyed these Jimny vlogs. I enjoyed the drive. I hope you enjoyed the drive too. So when I set out on this drive to Yercaud, I wanted to check the Jimny's capability across a range of things. So whether it was cruising on the highways, overtaking maneuvers at medium speed, high speed, driving on the ghats. We also got a bunch of bad roads, rough roads, no roads, village trails on the way back. So this drive gave me ample opportunity to check the Jimny across a range of situations, and I must say I'm quite impressed with the way the vehicle is performed. Like I said, it also depends on the kind of driver that you are. If you want a vehicle that is brutal in terms of its power output, want to do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, well, this is not the vehicle for you. But if you want to cruise along, if you want to coast along, mind you, you're not the slowest person on the highway. I think there were certain points where I touched about 110 kilometers per hour. I could have gone beyond that, but I didn't want to push it. I think this vehicle can easily do 130, 140, but yes, the engine will grunt a bit. At low revs, the engine is absolutely butter smooth. You can hardly hear it. When you push it a bit, the engine does make itself heard as it's being worked, but it delivers nonetheless. There was no situation really where I felt the Jimny was wanting, even in terms of power, as far as the ghats went. Sometimes you have to plan your maneuver, your overtaking maneuver a bit in advance. But other than that, I think the Jimny performed superbly well. So I hope you enjoyed these Jimny vlogs. Do let me know what you'd like to see more involving the Jimny. Like I said, this is new to me. I'm so used to being on the motorcycle, but it's been a fun drive nonetheless. So anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.